A man in a dark suit with a narrow tie buys a one-way ticket in cash the day before Thanksgiving, 1971. Tells the counter he's Dan Cooper and sits near the back of Northwest Orient Flight 305 with a bourbon and a plan. Before we go any further, drop your first instinct in the comments. Experienced skydiver who knew the Boeing 727 like a mechanic, a reckless amateur who trusted luck and a rainstorm, or a ghost who never jumped at all. Keep that answer ready and see if it survives the door opening. Shortly after takeoff from Portland to Seattle, he hands a note to the flight attendant that doesn't beg. It instructs, he has a bomb. He wants $200,000 in small bills, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. No shouting, no mask, no wild eyes. He is precise in the way careful people are precise. No heroics, no flourish, just requirements and a promise that if they listen, everyone goes home for the holiday. The airline and the FBI do the quick math panic demands. The plane circles to buy time, the ransom is assembled, the chutes are gathered, 2 back parachutes, 2 reserves, and on the ground, Cooper trades a cabin full of lives for a canvas bank bag that weighs like a decision. He lets the passengers go, keeps a small crew on board, and orders a flight to Mexico City with unusual constraints. Keep it low, 10,000 feet. Keep it slow, around 170 knots. Keep the landing gear down, flaps at 15, and keep the cabin unpressurized. One more thing. He wants the 727's rear air stair lowered in flight. Pilots say what pilots say when physics and policy disagree. We can't take off with the stairs down. Fine, Cooper says. We'll raise them, and I'll take it from there. The jet age suddenly learns it has a back door no one planned to use like this. They lift into a wet November night with rain that bites, wind that peels at metal, and a calm voice in back testing the limits of a new kind of crime. Here's our first open loop. Why 4 parachutes? Cooper could have asked for one. He asked for pairs, which forces the FBI to supply civilian untampered chutes in case he uses a flight attendant as a hostage. That detail tells you something about him. He plans for their plans. Hold that. Over southwest Washington, somewhere between the lights of Portland behind and the black stretch toward Reno ahead, the cockpit sees a warning. The plane shifts, the tail dips slightly, and the crew feels a pressure change that reads like a man stepping into the night. The storm claws at the skin of the jet. The rear stairs had dropped earlier with a thud. When they land in Reno to refuel after flying his requested profile, the crew finds what they expected and feared. The back of the plane is empty, the stairs are scored with damp, and the canvas bag is gone. What kind of person jumps at 10,000 feet in cold rain, at night, into thick timber country riddled with rivers and logging cuts, wearing a business suit and loafers? One lane says nobody survives that cocktail. Another lane says a paratrooper would laugh and say it's ugly but doable. The 727's aft stairs give a clean exit. The speed is low, and if you pick your drop, big if, you can ride dark air into a clearing. Now the money, $200,000 in Mark 20s, serials recorded. For years, none of it moves. No car lots start taking crisp 20s from ghosts. No sudden flood in Vegas. No curious deposit that trips a bank. Then, in 1980, a boy camping on the Columbia River at a place called Tina Bar digs in the sand and pulls out bundles of decayed 20s that match the Cooper ransom exactly. 3 stacks still rubber-banded by the river's rough hands. It's proof that either the money rode the water to that beach or someone buried it there for reasons that do not help easy theories. It's also a pattern interrupt. If Cooper died near the drop, how did these bills travel miles to a downstream sandbar, still together in clumps? If he lived, why let some of your only leverage rot under driftwood? Let's talk suspects, carefully, non-definitively. The case file is a crowded bar where the stories talk over the evidence. You'll hear the names: a veteran with skydiving in his past who boasted in bars, a clever loner who knew the aircraft and lived near the flight path, a manager with a temper and a paycheck too light for his tastes, a con man whose timeline almost fits, and more recent claimants who wore the story like a suit that doesn't quite fit at the shoulders. Each man has a moment where he could be Cooper if you dim the lights and let the music be loud enough. But when the lights go up, fingerprints don't match, the ear shapes drift, the flight path doesn't intersect a life cleanly, Or, most damning, no one can spend or explain those bills without turning the town's head. Another open loop. The chutes. Cooper rejected one military-style emergency pack when he saw it was sewn shut for training and chose a sport rig and a reserve. He also cut paracord from a chute to bundle the cash, using what he had to solve the problem in front of him. That improvisation smells like competence, not chaos. He kept his sunglasses on even at night, a detail the mind loves, and he asked the crew to fly with flaps at 15, a setting that suggests he'd studied the 727's best slow flight numbers. You can copy details from a magazine. It's harder to think with them under pressure. Let's address the theory that he never jumped, that he tricked the cockpit, stashed the money on board, and walked out in Reno wearing a mechanic's smile. It's elegant. It also fails physics and procedures. The aft stairs drag in the slipstream. The cockpit felt a signature bump consistent with weight leaving the rear. And the ramp crew in Reno met a plane cold from weather with the air stair down, and no stranger walking away into floodlights. Elegance bows to drag coefficients and fuel calculations. Imagine the jump moment if you need the human picture. Wind hammering, the world a wet whisper below, the cold going for your fingers first, the canvas bag tugging at your shoulder, and the tail lamp painting the night with a cone of weak light that looks like a promise and a dare. You count. 1,000, 2,003. Feel the canopy snap, and the storm takes over. If you aimed for a river bar to hide the bag or for a logging road cut you scouted on maps, you still have branches to bargain with and water that does not argue. If you were an amateur, this is where your story ends in a cedar snag no one finds. If you were trained, this is where you hold your course and trust your canopy and settle into pain you planned for. Years pass. The FBI follows thousands of tips, the legend grows taller than the man, and copycat hijackings make airlines rewrite cabin rules. Air marshals, cockpit doors, and a simple device nicknamed the Cooper vane that stops those rear stairs from lowering in flight. The case becomes a national riddle with regional weather. Books are written, TV specials reenact, amateur sleuths chase serial numbers in sediment. Meanwhile, the most stubborn facts keep sitting in the middle of the table like a glass that won't tip. The flight profile, the jump window, the money at Tina Bar, the absence of clean spend, the competence implied by the parachute choice, and the quiet that followed. What does the money on the sand actually mean? If the bundles traveled naturally, then flood years and river eddies need to match where they were found, and a few hydrologists point out the path is not generous to that theory. If someone buried them, was that a decoy to push searchers toward the river and away from timber? If Cooper died that night, some wildlife or logging crew should have stumbled on something. In time they did stumble on everything in those woods, yet nothing has ever been brought forward that the case file could hold up to sunlight. Here's your pattern interrupt. Most legends are built on flamboyance, but this one is built on restraint. No shots, no injuries, no rant, no speech. A note, an exchange, a list of airspeed numbers, and a walk down a rear stair into hard rain. Legends ride noise. Cooper rides quiet. So where do I land? Method over myth. The jump was survivable by a practiced person but unforgiving to an amateur. The parachute choices suggest awareness, not luck. The demands on the aircraft suggest study, not guessing. The money on the riverbank is the wild card that offends both easy camps. If you force me to call it, a competent jumper with a map and a margin, heard on landing, possibly assisted later, who either hid or lost part of the cash near a river course that would one day betray him with 3 soggy stacks. Before we close, look at the crew. A cockpit that kept its heads when a stranger's list could have broken them. A flight attendant who stayed calm enough to shuttle demands forward and keep a cabin of strangers steady, and an airline that bought time to bring everyone down alive. The crime is an open file. The professionalism is not. Here's your CTA. Choose one lane and stake your claim in the comments. Trained skydiver who planned this to the minute. Reckless amateur who won a coin toss. Or a smarter trick where the money on the beach is the only honest witness. Which single detail decides it for you? The 727's rear stairs, the 4 parachutes, the storm profile, or those rubber-banded 20s in sand? Share this with the friend who loves maps more than myths. And then watch our full Caseboard Daily breakdown, where we overlay the flight path with weather radar, audit the parachute pack logs, and test which suspect theories actually survive contact with the file.